Om Sarvopanishad Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Partha Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are likened to a cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. The calf is Arjuna. And people of purified intellects are the drinkers of the milk. And the milk is the supreme nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 6, verse 41. Attaining the worlds of the righteous and residing there for eternal years, the person fallen from yoga is born in the house of the pious who are prosperous. We have seen the questions, the doubt of Arjuna. What happens to a yogi who does not attain the ultimate goal of yoga? Is he rent like a cloud? Is everything lost? The Lord said, oh no, never is a doer of good, a good person, ever comes to grief. Nahi kalyana krit kashchit. Never. So this yogi, in order to practice yoga, had as means, had led a very upright moral life. He stuck to truth. He was non-injuring. He never had any kind of hidden desires for name or fame. He never received superfluous gifts from anyone. So all these moral virtues were already with him. And whether you like it or not, these moral virtues, and along with the practice of yoga, though incomplete, yet gives one tremendous results. So the Lord now speaks about what happens then. So as the yogi leaves the body, saying that yogi attains the worlds of the righteous, residing there for eternal years. The person fallen from yoga is then reborn in the homes of the virtuous and the pure. It's not a pious, just pure. So this is what happens to a yogi. Now, there are a lot of questions unanswered here. The first is, there are two types of yogis who have not attained the ultimate goal, which the next verse will enumerate about the second type. The first verse is, as we have been striving towards yoga, and what makes us not attain that final stage, obviously there were some obstacles. Principally obstacles, then there's a long duration of time. Maybe the body failed But principally the obstruction is mental obstructions. And where do these mental obstructions come from? They have arisen from deep from within the mind. Yoga, the practices of yoga, what it does is churns the mind, brings up all the kind of toxins out and throws it away. There are some toxins that are really toxic. They act as obstacles. And when the yogi meets those obstacles, wrestles with them, but fails to do it completely, then what happens? This person, then you say, attains the worlds of righteousness, because this person is a righteous person. And there residing in all those, you can say, for years and years. Now, it is not something called heaven, that you go about and start dancing and singing and taking it easy and you don't have anything to do. What will you do there? Here the yogi goes and keeps on, as it were, doing what he or she was used to, meditation. So they go into a deep state of meditation. And time passes by. You know, time is relative. So at the end of that, you can say, period, that yogi is reborn in the homes of the pious, the pure, and the prosperous. Because now there are less external obstacles. Poverty is a great impediment, number one. Impurity of the surroundings is also a greater impediment. So in order to counter these impediments, a yogi will have to spend a great number of years. So what happens is, the external struggles are all kind of taken care of. And this person is born. Who does this? The yogi or the yogini's karma itself leads them towards those kind of families, those kind of parents. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha suchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashto bijayate. This is the word. I was thinking of putting that as a subtitle, the transitions of a yogi. Instead of that, you could put yoga brashta. A person who has fallen away from yoga. A yogi who has fallen away from yoga is called a yoga brashta. Brashta is to fall away, to kind of become diverted from the path of yoga. But this falling away is, as we have seen, is just temporary. When we see in our lives, we resolve to do something, and when we resolve to do something, there is always an obstacle, and we are diverted. And sometimes it might take years for us to return back to our original aim and original destination. So this is a kind of a deflection. From this, it is clear that nothing is lost. Whatever one does in life, whatever one has thought, one has dreamt, one has spoken, one has imagined, everything is stored, as it were. It's never lost. Good deeds are stored and work in your favor. bad deeds also are stored and work against you. The human body is a mixture of both of these. The yogi has, through the practice of yoga, attenuated, that is, burnt away, as they say, the cage of sin body. There is a residue that has acted as an obstacle. So here it is this person who has left the body. Now, there is an elaborate discussion in the 8th chapter. We are towards the end of the 6th chapter. So I would like you to hold on and wait till the 8th chapter to tell you where the Lord explains how the actual process. In a nutshell, it is that yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajantante. Like what you think at the final moments of your life, that dictates where you will reach. That's number one. That's what the Lord says. That's why tasmat, therefore, sarveshu kaleshu, at all times, think of me, of God. You will reach me. And then the process is, when the yogi is meditating, prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena cha. So at the time of death, making the mind steady, imbued with devotion, bhaktya yukto, and that devotion fortified by the strength of yoga. Holding the mind here between the eyebrows, the yogi says, Om, and attains the goal. So this is the method of how the yogi leaves the body. The yogi that has reached the final goal of yoga. So that yogi imbued with the strength of yoga, with devotion, holding the mind steady in the heart, with concentrating all the life forces here, saying Om and letting go. So that yogi attains the highest. And then the 8th chapter further elaborates, and there are two paths: the path of light and the path of darkness. The path of light does not lead one to return. It is a path of no return. And the other path is a path of return. Avritti, anavritti. Anavritti is that the path of no return. So it's obvious that this yogi here spoken about in this yoga brashta, the one fallen from yoga, is taking that path of return. It is dhumo ratre. Let's not go into it now because it will bring too many other factors. Right now, we'll keep it simple. Okay? And that's better in a kind of way. So this person gives up the body with the residue of some of these obstacles that had come. But this yogi has that faith in yoga. And as the Lord has declared, never is a person who does good ever comes to grief. The person has served truth. That person is protected by that truth. Why do all religions speak the truth? Just because it's a good practice. It's apart from it gives one a sense of integrity. You're psychologically integrated. You have a whole society, if it is based on lies, is destroyed. It is truth that holds relationships, societies, civilizations, cultures. The moment you give it up, gone. Swami Vivekananda, in his famous, you can say, Jnana Yoga lectures, truth does not pay homage to societies, ancient or modern. Societies have to pay homage to truth or die. This yogi has served truth with his life. That yogi is now indestructible. It's just deflected. For a temporary phase in the practice of yoga, deflected. He'll take it up again. But there's an interim period where the person goes, that is, the person not in the physical body, but in the subtle body. And the subtle body is made up of the pranas, the prana body, life vital forces, subtle vital forces, the forces of the mind, the forces of intelligence, the forces of bliss. So these are the 19 components. The 5 pranas, the vital forces that run everything. Then we have the 5 sensory organs, the 5 motor organs, mind, intelligence, the sense of personal identity and intelligence, 19 components. This goes. So what remains? Like, there are insects and even some reptiles that mold their skins. They give up they slough off that old, you can say, covering, and they grow inside a new covering. So the body is just thrown off. And the subtle body emerges out like a sword being unsheathed. Like Sri Ramakrishna saw his nephew when he died, he saw the subtle body emerge out of the gross body like a sword emerging out of the sheath. So nothing is destroyed. That is what actually we are. And we pay attention to this kind of body business, which is far cry from reality. So it is this subtle body along with the causal body which is both enlivened with the reflection of consciousness that goes to a place where the person experiences the fruits of all the good deeds. The commentators say that person goes to where the righteous, the extremely righteous people have gone. Who are those who have performed the Ashwamedha Yagni, the horse sacrifices? These are the souls that have become super fine with good deeds. So the person goes there, waits there in bliss, suffused with bliss. And since time is relative, the person keeps on meditating, as it were. That's why he's saying meditation is great fun. People don't understand this. They say meditation is backache and leg ache. The yogas, verse says, Lokan. Lokan is look from the word to experience. Like this is a world of experience. The soul experiences things here in this level. And this Bhuloka itself has got various levels. Various levels. So the soul experiences things from the lowest to the highest here. And these planes of existence are called the planes of experiences. So this loka, the highest loka here, is plane of experiences, the experience of extreme bliss. Shashwati Sama. Sama is years. Shashwati, eternal, you can translate it for a long, long duration. It lasts and lasts and lasts. Unbelievable. So for those who are interested in LLA, so we have these 4 ages, yugas. Satya, Dwapara, Treta and Kali. These 4 yugas. This is one yuga, age. And then 1,000 such ages makes one day of Brahma. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. This itself of a few million years, this one age. So, however, we are not interested in that. We are interested in, after this experience of extreme bliss and happiness for untold number of years, the yogi is reborn, returns. Why? To complete yoga. And the yogi is born in the families of the pure Suchinam, Srimatam, those who are prosperous. Srimatam can be translated also those who have an abundance of virtues. That also is the meaning. Sri. Sri is Lakshmi. Sri is also Smritir, Meda, Dhriti, Kshama. All the excellent qualities that reside in a family. A family is kind of, we have seen people like this in India. Extremely pious. And we get these people who are not rich. They are kind of prosperous enough to make ends meet. It's only yogis who are born like this. All souls, they return. Those who take the path of the return path, they are born into particular families where they can express their further development. You are guided by your own karma. And it's a long, you can say, subject, but your karma dictates where you will be born, which family, and you kind of put a marker on that family and wait for the fetus to develop a little, and then you enter into it. This entry and exit depends also on a higher power of Ishvara, God. You see, sometimes you see children who are brilliant in mathematics. Their fathers are kind of, maybe they could not solve any simple algebraic theorems. They were not good at anything. But the children, amazing. Musicians, this. At an early age, some souls show a remarkable talent in certain areas. And you wonder, how is this possible? So this disproves the idea of one birth theory. A person suddenly is born and suddenly exhibits remarkable qualities. Where did this person acquire it from? From his genes? Or no. The genetic explanation is inadequate. There has to be another level of explanation, and which is the subtle body which has been worked upon by karma, comes now to unfold the pranas, the life force, and pursue what was incomplete. Ordinarily, this is what happens. So it's a long discussion, but it's like a person falls into a tunnel, as it were. And on the walls of the tunnel, you see scenes of the future life that you are going to live. And then you get into a limbo type. You enter into the womb and you forget everything. But then those old karmas emerge out and unconsciously guide you in that particular direction. The family might have one son who is a doctor, another daughter who's an engineer, the third one might be something else. We know what. So here we have this spoken out by the Lord. The next one, 42, Atva, or one is born in the family of enlightened yogis only. Such a birth as is of this kind is surely more difficult to obtain in the world. This is what happened. So we are talking about the two classes of yogis who don't attain that final. One has been obstructed due to some past karma. The other also has been obstructed, but that person's spiritual practices and detachment was so strong, it overpowers all obstructions. So this is the kind of superior type of yogi who is reborn. Or this is in the homes of the pious or the pure and the prosperous, or that another type of yogi is born in the homes of the yogis. So, homes, yogis, yes, these are, those great householders who lead an extremely pure life. And you see how, take for instance, the birth of Sri Ramakrishna. Both their parents were all yogis. They had attained to those high states where they could see and converse with God. And various deities were kind of their household deities for them. So this level of attainment in a householder's life is very rare. So these yogis, they are born into such families. And that's why he's saying, Atava yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etad hi durlabhataram loke janmana idrisham. So here it is. Or one is born in the family of enlightened yogis only. Such a birth as is of this kind is surely more difficult to obtain in this world. Durlabhatara, extremely difficult. Yoginam eva kule, in the family of the yogis. So this yogi is born in the family of enlightened, you can say, yogis. Now what happens? Now the obstructions they are hardly external obstacles at all. Even internal obstacles are almost non-existent. And then the conditions are favorable for the person, for the yogi, for the yoga brashta, that who had fallen from yoga, who's taken up the practice of yoga again, becomes easy. The person is eligible for yoga. Yeah. You are born in a house and then you close your eyes and they're not going to say, what are you doing? Yeah. They're going to obstruct you. But in other families, what is this guy doing? See, hopeless fellow, closing his eyes and sitting down, doing nothing. He will be an object of derision. He will be an object of criticism. What's that? The guy is religious. So the person is born in a religious ambience where the practice of yoga and religion becomes very easy. So it's called sajatiya. It becomes kind of, you have like-minded people there who can appreciate you and who can help you further. So this is the more difficult birth. And then what happens for both classes of yogis? There one gets associated with the wisdom that was acquired in the previous body. After that, one also strives further for perfection, O scion of the Kuru dynasty, Kurunandana. So here, so what you did, there is just a small interval, well, small, but when it's over, even the longest dream seems short when it's broken. Even the longest life seems short when it comes to an end. Even the longest experiences seem short when it comes. It's just memories, old memories. You've gone through your whole life. What is left now with you in all the 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 years? Just memories. And some of those predominantly painful ones are the ones you remember, obviously. Very few happy memories. Generally, the happy memories are memories of your childhood, if you notice. Because the ego had not yet been completely crystallized. By the time you're 10, 11, 12, the ego has been crystallized, and then all the troubles start. And life becomes a misery. So what you have experienced your 40 and 50 or 60 years, you might see pictures of you, maybe 1,000 pictures of you as a child and now here. But in your mind, all your experiences are, as it were, compressed to a few mainly bad, painful, hurtful memories, and a few good ones. But you are the resultant of all that you had done. They are subconscious. So it is these subconscious impressions that impel you. So when it's over, it's over. No, I want some more. What more do you want? No, I have to look after this, that. No, you don't have to bother about that. You have come many times, you have gone many times. Go in peace, come in peace and go in peace to love the Lord. So when this yogi is reborn, so here he's saying, there one gets associated with the wisdom that was acquired in the previous body. All those subconscious impressions of yoga now are awakened. So they come there they guide the yogi. After that, one also strives further for perfection. Now that person knows, oh, I committed a stupid mistake the last time. This time, I'm not going to do anything stupid. And the yogi strives for perfection. It's called samsiddho, samsiddhi. Siddhi is perfection, complete perfection, samsiddho. So he's saying, tatra tam buddhi sangyoga. Sangyoga is joining, buddhi, the wisdom. There one is joined with the wisdom that has arisen from the practice of yoga. Saying what? Paurvadehikam, which was the yoga that was practiced in the previous physical body. One attains that, lavade, it comes to you. Because it's yours, it belongs to you. Comes to you. So this is a yatate tato bhuya. And again, bhuya, once again, that person strives, yatata. Yatata. Therefore, that person again strives to attain perfection, O Arjuna. So this is what actually happens. Okay, that's of course, there's a huge discussion. But I have enumerated a little of it. I would like you to think about it. That it makes sense to have this long line of lives. We commit mistakes, we pay for it, we do something good, we are rewarded year in the subtle body. There is no external agency to, this is your reward and this is your punishment. No. It's your own karma. So here, that wisdom awakens. That person is, in a way, awakened from that long, dreary sleep of ignorance. And suddenly he sees a glimmer in the darkness, that light goes towards it. And now, that person is irrepressible. That person can't be stopped anymore, because that person sees things clearly. So yatata, that person easily gets the guru, easily gets the conditions favorable for practice, easily gets everything, and proceeds. So this process is, if you see in your own lives, the things that you have done, you have suffered for it, yeah. Or you have enjoyed, whatever. So we are the results of what we have done. The infinite past is stacked up on us. And it's not that, it's just that we don't remember, so those things are non-existent. So in the last birth, the yogi remembers everything. A long evolution. So evolution of matter and the manifestation of the spirit, that's what Swamiji says, Swami Vivekananda. We talk so much about evolution, physical evolution. Yeah, we bring in another factor. Vedanta brings in another factor. The evolution of the soul. And the soul joined with the matter, both are evolving. Otherwise, evolution makes no sense. What's that? It's a kind of black. No, it's for the manifestation of the soul's powers. So both are evolving in a kind of parallel stream. Millions and millions of years have passed. Billions of years have passed till the species, in fact, could evolve into something discernible like a human species, primates. And it has been a long journey. Yeah, why not? So also, the soul also has had a long, long journey, transiting in different bodies, here, there, experiencing the various levels of pain and pleasure that the world and bodies can afford. Then the yogi takes up the practice of yoga, is obstructed, comes back. This is the story of our lives. Everyone has a story. Each one of us. Or most of us have forgotten the entire stories. Yeah. We are interested more in that person's stories. Look at your own story. Each story is unique. And this story has not started with, that person is born and that person is died. Oh no. And this has been the journey towards freedom. The transition from one level to another, higher and higher and higher. Every time you practice yoga, you go up a notch higher. It's ratcheting up your purity, your unselfishness, your love for God, everything. So you ratchet it up, notch by notch by notch by notch. So this yogi now again has come to the final kind of notch where he has to ratchet it up. And that's what the yogi does. So in the 44th, is there a way that the yogi can avoid being pulled down on the path of perfection? No chance. At this stage, no chance. That's why the 44th verse is, truly, by that past habit itself, the yogi is carried forward in spite of oneself. Even a seeker of yoga transcends the Vedas. Here it is. So your old practice, that momentum that had been started, no, I don't want to do yoga. Oh, sorry. No chance. That person is impelled. So he's saying, Purva abhyasena tenaiva riyate hyavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Transcends. Shabda Brahma is the Veda. The Vedas is Shabda Brahman. That is, the person, Jigna, the seeker, transcends the Vedas, transcends the things prescribed in the Vedas as rights and duties. That person transcends everything, transcends the Vedas. Oh, you to transcend the Vedas. The Vedas are supreme. Yeah, the yogi has transcended all what has been prescribed and proscribed by the Vedas. He is on the cusp of just taking that last step. And all that purva abhyasa, practice. Purva is the earlier practices. That's why you say practice, 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 practice. Then nothing but practice. So the earlier practice of yoga pulls him, riyate, hyavasho. Even in spite of, if he wants to step out, no chance. All the yoga impressions, the past yoga impressions are so powerful that the yoga impressions pull him. That's so. Verily, by that earlier habit itself, one is carried forward in spite of oneself. Even a seeker of yoga, that person is the guy will always seek yoga. I've been talking just about philosophy and all these things. Just to kind of end today's Gita session with Swami Abhedananda. When he was young, he got interested in yoga. He heard a Pandit delivering the 6 systems of Indian philosophy lectures, and Pandit Shashadhar Tarka Chudamani, who also appears in the Gospel. And he was fascinated with the yoga. So he goes and then he tries to learn the yoga. But you know what happened, that Pandit is busy. He's saying, so I'll come, you come when, just before I go to bathe in the river, my disciple kind of massages me with oil. So during that time, brief time, I'll teach you yoga. So he went, started. He started practicing. His friend said, be careful, don't practice. You don't have to practice like that. Something might go wrong. You have to go to a yogi. And the person comes, Abhedananda, Kali Prasad, comes to Sri Ramakrishna right there. His parents themselves were extremely pious, extremely pious. So he comes to Sri Ramakrishna, and after, just to be brief, he said, can you teach me yoga? So Sri Ramakrishna looks at him, yes, I'll teach you yoga. You were yogi in your previous birth, and this is your last birth. Here it is. So if you think that this is something, some airy philosophy or some kind of doctrine that is irrelevant, not relevant, there it is. It's authenticated thousands, but I'm giving you one instance where it's well known. And Swami Abhedananda lived for more than 20 years, a little more than about 25 years here in the West, in America, especially on the East Coast, teaching Vedanta. So here you are. So I'll teach you yoga, Sri Ramakrishna says. So the question, will you teach me yoga? Yeah, I'll teach you. He looks deep into his eyes. You were a yogi in your previous birth. You have a little to finish. This is your last birth. There it is. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
There are a few questions for me.
Yeah.
So first question. Often one is born with some bad samskaras in their minds. These samskaras could be very strong and hard to correct. Can these samskaras be forcefully corrected, or only with time they will be corrected?
Oh no, no time to correct it. Yeah, you have to forcefully correct yourself. You have to counter that bad with the good. Always, always. Don't wait for it to kind of leach its poison down in the subsoil of your subconscious. First is stop imagining those things. You have a nice, it's called, in Sanskrit, it's called Shobana Dhyasa. Something bad, okay, it's going to harm you, but you give it a color of good. It's called Shobana Dhyasa. Oh, this is good. And then when that covering has been pulled out, you find, it has been a nuisance. So this thing has to be countered with an equally strong, you can say, force. In time, yes, it will wear out. It won't wear out on its own. So it will leave seeds. It's obvious that old samskaras, old impressions, accumulate, and so don't heap anything more on them. Cut them off. Pray, fast, do japa, listen to good things, keep your mind on unselfishness and help others as much as possible, and then those bad things will get cut off.
I think we have audio. Let me see. Because yeah, we have audio. The image is off. But there's another question. Can you answer that or no?
Yeah, you can give it here. Yeah.
Revered Sir, what should we do if evil thoughts occur in the mind repeatedly?
So if evil thoughts repeatedly emerge in the mind, repeatedly think of good thoughts. It's as simple as that. You know some thoughts hurt you. So why do you keep on hurting yourself? Kind of, you're torturing yourself. No, don't do that. So bring in good thoughts. Think of yourself as a child of God. Yeah, that's a powerful thought. Think of yourself as a soul which is beyond all good and evil. That's a powerful thought. Learn to associate with the good people. Stop watching those useless things on, things around you. Media is full of all things. So it's like you fall sick because of a bad diet. So you can regain your health through a proper diet, a healthy diet. So do that, and as you keep on doing that, you regain your health. Okay?
Another question. Swamiji, after getting enlightenment, so the person is aware of everything and everywhere, like trees, animals, waters, air, etc. Is that, or is it something else?
It is something else. I would request you to see a TED talk by Jen Bolte Taylor. How she had a kind of a stroke and how she felt herself identified with all these things. That identification is not of the Atman proper, but of the identity. One's identity, which is now first just with the body, has now spilled over and now is identified with everything. That is a high state, of course. That is not the final enlightenment that the yoga scriptures speak about. That final enlightenment is beyond all bodies, subtle, gross, causal, and everything. Okay? That's just a sea of consciousness. But strive. Do strive. Yeah.
Last question. Is it animal sacrifice? How does animal sacrifice leads to bliss and is considered like merit?
You see, the animal sacrifice is symbolic. It's a sacrifice of your own ego, of your evil self. And the idea of sacrifice has been there in all religions, primitive as well as, you can say, established, or you can say those huge religions. Sacrifice has been integral. You remove sacrifices from all religions, you have nothing. Nothing. So this animal sacrifice, don't take it otherwise. It's a symbolic act of your own pashu bhav, that the own animal tendencies of yours. Sacrifice that to the feet of the Lord. You're not sacrificing it to anything else, to the world. If you sacrifice yourself to the world will burn you. And you have been sacrificing, people have been sacrificing themselves, pursuing this and that and all the rubbish things in life, and the world has given them nothing but torture. So sacrifice your own lower ego to God, and God will accept that sacrifice. If you remember the biblical story of Cain and Abel, the two sacrifices, God was pleased with one and displeased with the other. You know why. So that was This is the idea of a sacrifice. It has been an ancient, in fact, religion grew over this concept of sacrifices. Nothing else. Somewhere deep down in our consciousness, we understand its value. Sacrifice has been the law in the past and will be so for ages to come, Swami Vivekananda says. So this is the law, sacrifice. So to personalize, conceptualize, make it tangible, this is. So sacrifice your health, your wealth, your peace of mind for others, and see how you derive the greatest joy and bliss. That is also sacrifice. Sacrifice your selfishness for others, and see when you grow in unselfishness, you understand the strength of the sacrifice. Sacrifice, every great person has risen because of self-sacrifice. Take up your cross. Take it up, close your mouth, and sacrifice yourself for others. That is the way. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.